For decades, long before CGI turned into the shiny buzzword of modern filmmaking, Hollywood relied on a tiny yet powerful invention that completely changed how action looked on screen. Squibs. These miniature explosives weren't just special effects. They were the raw backbone of cinematic violence, the hidden magic behind some of the most shocking, bloody, and unforgettable scenes ever committed to film. They didn't just imitate gunshot wounds. They gave action sequences a grit and realism that even today's digital effects often fail to capture. And that's why, even in an era where computers can conjure anything, squibs remain at the heart of one of film's biggest debates: practical effects versus digital wizardry. So what exactly is a squib? How does such a tiny device create such jaw-dropping chaos? And what are audiences losing when filmmakers decide to replace them with pixels? Today, we're diving headfirst into the bloody, explosive history of Hollywood squibs. This is Bloodsport, the reign of the squib. But before we blow anything up, make sure you hit subscribe and tap that bell so you never miss a look behind the curtain of Hollywood magic. And fair warning, things are about to get messy. If you're squeamish, brace yourself, because we're talking blood, guts, and some serious cinematic carnage. Oh, and yes, spoiler alert for a few classic movies. At their core, squibs are a fascinating contradiction, both simple and genius at the same time. Filmmakers have been trying for over a century to show violence on screen in a way that felt believable. They tried camera tricks, makeup, and prosthetics, but nothing made audiences feel the impact of a bullet like a squib could. Think of it as a controlled miracle of pyrotechnics. A small disc packed with explosive powder designed to mimic the sudden burst of a gunshot, an explosion, or debris. 1 second, an actor's shirt is intact. The next, a shocking spray of blood erupts across the screen, making you forget it's all make-believe. And while it might sound dangerous, creating that moment of chaos is actually a carefully engineered art form. Every squib you've ever seen is the result of hours of preparation, protective gear, and precise timing. So how does it work? A blood squib is usually made of 3 parts. First, the charge itself, a tiny, controlled explosive. Its power depends on the scene, a subtle shoulder hit versus a full-blown chest eruption. Second, the gore pack, usually filled with fake blood, but sometimes mixed with things like fabric, gel, or even food scraps to add texture. Believe it or not, spaghetti squash has helped sell more than a few gruesome deaths on screen. And third, the safety layer. Actors wear padding or thin vests to prevent burns or injury when the squib detonates. Once assembled, it's strapped beneath the costume with the blood pack facing outward. Costume designers often prepare multiples of the same outfit, because once that squib explodes, the clothing is destroyed for good. Sometimes they'll even pre-cut the fabric so the blast rips through naturally. Finally, the timing. The squib is triggered either remotely by a technician or by the actor with a hidden switch, perfectly in sync with the action. What looks like chaos to the audience is actually a perfectly choreographed dance between the director, the effects team, the camera crew, and the performer. And squibs aren't just for people. They've been used on walls, cars, and props to simulate bullets ripping through wood, glass, or even concrete. But no matter what, safety is always priority number 1. The history of squibs is as colorful as the fake blood they spray. The first versions appeared back in the 1940s in films like Back to Baton, 1945. At the time, they were mainly used for bullet strikes on surfaces, no gore yet. But the 1950s brought a revolution. Films like Pokolini, 1955, in Poland, and Run of the Arrow, 1957, in the US, experimented with blood packs, and audiences were shocked. For the first time, wounds looked real. Then came the late 60s. The Hollywood Hays Code, strict rules banning graphic violence, finally collapsed. Suddenly, filmmakers were free to push boundaries. And with that freedom, the squib truly exploded onto the scene. Arthur Penn's Bonnie and Clyde, 1967, stunned audiences with its infamous finale where multiple squibs turned a shootout into cinematic carnage. Sam Peckinpah's The Wild Bunch, 1969, raised the bar even higher, creating a blood-soaked ballet that made history. By the time The Godfather, 1972, hit screens, squibs had gone mainstream. James Caan's legendary death scene as Sonny Corleone involved over 100 squibs strapped to his body, a violent, unforgettable spectacle that still shocks viewers today. The 1980s and 90s became the golden era of squibs. Action movies got bigger, louder, bloodier. Directors like Paul Verhoeven in RoboCop, 1987, took things to extremes. One actor recalled being strapped with more than 200 squibs, plus bags of spaghetti squash, to create one of the most horrifying corporate executions ever filmed. It was messy, it was brutal, and audiences couldn't look away. So why don't we see squibs as often today? 3 reasons: cost, convenience, and safety. Setting them up is time-consuming. Every take requires costume resets, cleaning, and preparation. They're also explosives, so there's always some risk. Enter CGI. Digital blood is cheaper, faster, and safer. Directors can film dozens of takes without stopping to reset. Filmmakers like David Fincher embraced it, layering in blood sprays, debris, even bone fragments in post-production. And sure, it looks clean, efficient, controlled. But here's the problem. CGI almost never feels as real. There's no weight, no unpredictability, no mess. Your brain can tell when blood is just pixels. As one veteran effects artist put it, blood isn't just color, it's texture, motion, and chaos. And CGI just can't fake that. That's why some productions compromise. They'll use real squibs for impact and supplement with CGI to erase wires or enhance the blast. Others abandon them completely. In the end, it depends on the director's vision, the budget, and how much chaos they're willing to manage. So why do squibs still matter? Because sometimes nothing beats reality. For actors, squibs create genuine reactions: shock, pain, panic. They force a performance to feel alive. For audiences, they bring danger, unpredictability, and a visceral punch that CGI still struggles to match. And for fans of movie history, squibs carry a nostalgic charm. They're part of the DNA of cinema itself. Whether it's Sonny Corleone collapsing under a hail of bullets, or the slow-motion carnage of The Wild Bunch, those iconic scenes are unforgettable precisely because they were real. Explosions, wires, fake blood, and all. Squibs may not rule Hollywood the way they once did, but they're far from extinct. Directors who value practical effects continue to use them, blending old-school grit with modern polish. Because when done right, a squib isn't just a special effect. It's storytelling. Loud, messy, visceral storytelling. And that's why, decades later, squibs still leave audiences in awe. So next time you see a spray of blood bloom across the screen, remember, it's more than just movie magic. It's decades of innovation, craftsmanship, and a little explosive chaos, all designed to make you feel the moment. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the hidden art of Hollywood, make sure to subscribe for more behind-the-scenes secrets. And remember, in the world of cinema, sometimes the smallest bang leaves the biggest impression.